Hello, everybody. This is game 3 of my first fantasy tournament that I went to this past weekend. So this is the last scenario, and it's Watchtower. Yay! Every Bretonian's dream is the Watchtower scenario. Not. But anyway, this is actually a kind of a funky Watchtower. So it was the name of the scenario was Floating Fortress, and at the start of every player turn, you would roll a scatter dice and a d6. The Watchtower would move that many inches. And if you rolled a 5 or a 6 for the movement of the watchtower, whatever unit was in the watchtower gets kicked out of it. So that meant that if, people who just threw a horde in there would not necessarily be able to stick it out for the entire game because the watchtower would move all the time. And other than that, it was typical watchtower. So yeah, here's my... it was against a Chaos Demons army. This guy had also won his first 2 games, and he actually had won best overall at the last tournament that he went to here, which was the month before. So I was a little nervous. I've never played Demons before. I've only heard bad things. Even watching other Bretonians do their battle reports, they always struggle against Demons, so I was not really excited to play this game. But anyway, I'm sure... let's get started. So on my far left, I have my Grail Knights. Yeah, we'll see how they do this game. Then next to them is my big old bus of 11 Knights of the Realm, plus my 3 heroes and my Prophetess. If you want to see what they are, watch the other videos. Then next to them, I have 10 Peasant Bowmen. Next to them are my 5 Mounted Yeomen being proxied by some other random cavalry. Behind them is my Trebuchet. And to the right is my big old horde of men-at-arms. Their goal is to get into the tower, but we'll see if we can beat them there. To the right of my deployment, I have my Knights Errant block with Errantry Banner, 10 more Bowmen, and my 3 Pegasus Knights. On his side of the board, on his right flank, my left, he has 2 units of 6 Flamers of Tzeentch. Then he has a bunch of, I believe they're called... then he has a Daemonettes, 6 wide unit of Daemonettes. Behind them, he took Kairos Fateweaver, which is the big, badass, special character Tzeentch demon guy who just is ridiculous. Oh my god, he's the most broken thing I've ever seen in this game. I'm not just saying that because I don't like complaining about things like that in Warhammer because, I just don't like whiners. But man, this dude, you get to pick spells from every lore in the freaking Warhammer rulebook in addition to his own spells he gets, and he has a 3-up ward save, and he gets +2 to cast everything, and it's just insane. So, needless to say, my magic phase was almost non-existent in this entire game. And yeah, and he also makes your wizard -2 to cast whatever lore he chooses. So he chose Lore of Heavens. So there goes my magic phase, which my army isn't really dependent on its magic phase. It just helps a lot. All those little buffs that I can get on my knights when they charge in really help. And against my last game against ogres, they were a pretty big deciding factor. So not having those really hurts me. And then he has a unit of pink horrors behind them with some character guy that also counts as a wizard. And next to them, he has a big old horde of 40 bloodletters with a his BSBs with his Daemonettes, and in here is just a Herald of Khorne with a bunch of, ridiculousness. So I prayed, but I got my Vanguard move, so I went ahead and moved my Mounted Yeomen up. I'm not really sure what to do with them. I saw those skirmishing flamers, and I figured, they probably weren't too tough, which I learned was a mistake later. But for now, there's kind of Mounted Yeomen are moving up. Pegasus Knights also Vanguard up. And this is his first turn movement. He moved everything up, as you can see. His Bloodletters are coming up. When we were deploying, I think I out-deployed him because I had more drops than he did. So I pretty much left his Bloodletters kind of pissing in the wind on his right flank there. Or, excuse me, his left flank, my right side. So I was hoping to just kind of avoid them the whole game because they're insane. I do not want to touch them. But anyway, so he moves up. He moves up Kairos Fateweaver. Here's another picture of his movement. And this was after his magic phase and shooting phase. So yeah, you can see my freaking Grail Knights. God, they're just a joke. He did the Lore of Metal spell on them that wounds them on a 2-up. I tried to dispel it and I couldn't. And that's another thing. Normally when you do a magic phase, you can dispel at least one of your enemy spells, and they can probably only... They can usually only get one spell safely off without you being able to dispel it. But this Kairos guy, he gets +6 to cast, and he also gets plus D3 something or other extra power dice. So, I mean, it's nuts. It's completely broken in my opinion. But anyway, he goes ahead and zaps the crap out of my Grail Knights, which, I guess it's not the end of the world. One nice thing was when he was casting magic missiles at my Knight of the Realm unit, my Prophetess gives them magic resistance 2, which stacks with the Blessing, which I felt was pretty awesome. So their ward save was 3 up, and that was the first time I think in 8th edition magic resistance has actually done me any good. But anyway, that's what happened. So this is the start of Bretonnia turn 1. So these are the charges I made. On the left side, he moved Kairos, actually. He meant to move him about 18 inches out, but he mismeasured it. So he was actually within 16 inches of my Knight of the Realm unit, which, I mean, perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything better than to be within easy charge range of his big 700-point wizard guy that I could potentially heroic killing blow. But, as luck would have it, I failed my charge. I needed an 8, and I rolled a 7. So my Knights of the Realm are pissing in the wind over there on the left. My Grail Knights, however, they make it in, which I guess, that's something. But even then, they're reduced to less than half strength, so they're not going to be doing a whole lot to him. But I figure it's better than nothing. At least I can get his general in close combat, so he can't fly around everywhere. On the right-hand side, you can see my Pegasus Knights got into his Demonettes, and I dual charged with my Pegasus Knights and the Knights Errant. But, again, the Knights Errant failed their charge. I mean, usually I'm not too worried about failing charges if it's less than 16 inches. Because, I mean, usually it works out that way, but man, as luck would have it, this game just, it really sucked. So the Pegasus Knights, they're not going to do well on their own. I know that for a fact. Yeah, they're not meant to attack rank and file models. They're meant to take out little things or support other knight units that can take out rank and file models. So I think if I would have gotten both of those in, that would have been really nice. And I would have stood a chance at least. But as fate would have it, which I suppose, fighting a Tzeentch army, he controls fate. So, that's what I get for fighting demons. I also go ahead and charge my Yeoman into his Flamers. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I thought they wouldn't be very tough in close combat because they're like a shooty skirmisher thing. Yeah, that was wrong. This is after combat, so you can see where my Yeomen were. They no longer are. They were obliterated. I mean, apparently, Flamers are strength 5 in close combat. Like, what the heck? They're strength 3 normally, and then they have +2 in close combat? Like, I don't understand why they would need that sort of thing, but, whatever. The Grail Knights do a couple wounds on the Tzeentch guy, and another thing about demons that I've learned to hate about them is they don't have instability like undead or vampire counts or tomb kings normally would. They don't just lose wounds based on how much they lost combat. They lose wounds based on how much they fail a leadership test to lose combat by. So, yeah, I mean, that's no fun for demons, or for fighting against them. So that means even though I beat Kairos Fateweaver by 5, he still rolled, under his leadership value, so he was good to go. At least that's how I interpreted what he was doing. As you can see with the Demonettes, the Pegasus Knights were completely beaten. I believe they were even run down. So, yeah, this is not a good start for Bretonnia. One good thing that happened, which I'm sorry I don't have a picture of, the watchtower actually floated 6 inches my direction, which I was very happy to see. So that meant I could just walk my men-at-arms into the watchtower. So I am now in control of the watchtower, which is great, because that means that not only if they stay there do I win the game, but I get +2 points if he never controls the watchtower. So I'm thinking, even if I lose horribly by victory points, I'll at least have the watchtower. Start of his turn 1. So another thing I've learned to hate about demons, these bloodletters have a special banner which gives them +1 d6 on their first charge. So I thought my Knights Errant were at least, safely away from the demons. They were a good 18 inches away or something, but nope, those demons just flew across the board and crashed right into him, and I had to maximize to him, that's why they look like that. So the Knights Errant, it's bad enough when regular Knights get charged, but when Knights Errant get charged, they're even worse than my regular Knights without charging, so yeah, that's not going to go well. Over here, he flank charges his Flamers into my into my Grail Knights, and I believe he got Occam's Mind Razor on his Demonettes, or some spell there. But yeah, that's what's going on. Oh no, I'm sorry. I got Ice Shard Blizzard on the on Kairos, which I thought was a pretty good strategy. You know, it has minusing his leadership. -1 to his leadership means that that's one more chance that he's going to take a wound if he loses combat. He moves up his flamers, his other unit of flamers that obliterated my yeomen just to shoot at my knights. He's not planning on charging them, just shooting them, which I thought was a good idea. Kills 2. At the end of combat here, my Grail Knights managed to kill one of the flamers, but they managed to kill one of mine, and he passes all of his tests, and they're pretty much stuck. After combat here, I was rather surprised with how my Knights Errant handled these Khorne guys. Like, I mean, even though I'd lost, he only killed 3, which, you know, that's not too bad. So I stuck around there. Alright, so start of Bretonnia turn 2. My Knights of the Realm that were in the forest charged up. I couldn't charge Kairos because I just didn't have room. But I could charge the Flamers, which would apply the combat resolution to Kairos. However, even then I can only get 2 guys in base contact. Yeah, which, you know, what are you going to do? And I also lost one to a dangerous terrain from the forest, which, you know, that was just icing on the cake. Over here, I flank charge him with my Bowman. I'm really hoping that doesn't give him more combat res than it gives me, because I like having the flank and the charge. So long as he doesn't kill more than 2, at least they'll break even. Here's just another picture of that. I think this is after combat, so I kill a bunch of flamers. Kairos is down to 2 wounds. You know, I'm trying to kill him, but man, it's really hard. So, after combat, the Bloodletters finally break my Knights Errant and run them down. My Bowmen run away because he won combat. The Demonettes also charge the tower, and they're killing a bunch of men-at-arms, but, you know, I have 40 of them in there, so they're not going anywhere too quickly. Alright, so his turn 3, he charges his Flamers into my Bowmen. I'm okay with that. He attempts to charge into my Trebuchet, but fails his charge. But the Trebuchet, I really misplaced it. I can't really see anything because of the stupid tower. And yeah. And also, we didn't roll a 5 or 6 for the tower's movement during the entire game. So that was pretty lucky for me, because that meant my men-at-arms never got kicked out of it. So they're still sitting around in there. On his turn previous, I beat the Flamers and reformed. At the start of my turn, I was going to charge Kairos, but then he did his little siren song, whatever the hell, and forced me to charge his Demonettes. So, I mean, God, these demons, they have every trick in the book. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to beat them. It's my first time playing them, but still, like, it was not a pleasant first meeting against the demon. Let's put it that way. Over here, the Flamers take out my Bowman, which is to be expected. There's my Bowman fleeing. He only killed 3 of them, which, you know, could be worse. After combat, I think he actually managed to kill the Grail Knight, the last remaining Grail Knight with Kairos. He got 1 attack, and, you know, I failed my 2-up, and then I failed my 6-up. So he's dead. Good news, my Knights of the Realm, you know, made short work of the Demonettes, so I guess that's something. That means his BSB's gone, and that also means that they won't be charging the tower. Starting his turn 4, he charges his Bloodletters into my Trebuchet, and that thing's toast. Here's just an overview of the board. I think he just moved a little bit. He was magicking, or he was zapping my Knight of the Realm unit with some more magic, which, you know, what are you going to do about it? He reforms after killing my Trebuchet to try and charge the tower. My turn 4, I believe. Yeah, my turn 4. I reform my Knights of the Realm to face Kairos and the pink things. I know he's just going to fly Kairos out of the way, but, you know, at least maybe I'll go charge the pink horrors. Yeah, I believe this is just another picture. Or this is after the tower moved, so there's that. His turn 5, he charges his Bloodletters into the tower. That's no fun. You strength 5 bloodletters with killing blow against poor little men-at-arms. But I do have my Blessing the Lady save, so I'm hoping that'll keep me on. And by this point I had, I think, a little less than 20 men-at-arms and still in the tower after they took a beating from the other stuff. So there's that. He, like I anticipated, he moved Kairos around to try and shoot me with some more magic. So he kills a bunch more. All I have left in that unit is my Knight of the Realm champion and my 4 characters, which is pretty funny. You can see, who's expendable in this army. Looking at this picture, at the start of my turn, I probably could have charged his pink horrors, but I don't know why I didn't. I charged the flamers instead. So I charged them after combat. He has 1 flamer with 1 wound left. So his turn 6, charged the bloodletters in. I think I had about 10 men-at-arms left, and he kills them all. And not only that, but he gets Briona's Time Warp on his bloodletters, so they're all +1 attack. Yeah, that's the thing. He can take spells from every lore, including, the good guy lores, like Lore of Life and Lore of Light. So they're all, 2 attacks, all that crazy stuff. He moves over Kairos again. And I believe what happened here is, I think I trebucheted the pink horrors at some point, and they lost a bunch of models. I think it's just oh no, I killed the flamers. That's what happened. So the flamers are dead, which I guess that's cool. And yeah, that's actually the end of the game. I'm sorry. So the flamers are dead, and at this point, his bloodletters actually killed the rest of the guys that were in the tower. So he wasn't able to occupy the tower ever, but I had about my men-at-arms were fighting the last man, but it just wasn't enough. So he killed them all. The tower was clear, so that meant the scoring was done by victory points instead, and it was an obvious victory for the demons. He had Kairos left, the whole horde of bloodletters, and the pink horrors, and all I had left were my 4 heroes and my Knight of the Realm unit, which did not. It was an easy victory for him. Let's put it that way. Well, not easy, but what I mean by that is easy to calculate that he had won. So yeah, that was the last game of the tournament. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep up my winning streak, so 2 wins and a loss. I was pretty happy with that, to be honest. I was not expecting to do that well. I think my Bretonnians, they really impressed a lot of people, because people, they see Bretonnia and they're just kind of thinking like, oh, what are you going to do? You're just going to charge in and not be steadfast, and you're just going to lose. But, I think they really did. They showed the power that some old army books have, even against super competitive lists like this demon list. In a drop-down, drag-out battle line fight with this demon list, I probably, if I could have avoided the bloodletters, I think, just by out deploying them and taking out the rest of his army, I probably would have done pretty well. But yeah, so that was pretty fun. All the games were super fun. This game was, even this game, even though I lost pretty handedly, it was still really fun, seeing the men-at-arms hang on to the last man in the tower. Things I learned from this tournament: I need to rethink the way I'm using Grail Knights, or just not take them, because there are a lot of points, and on paper they do a lot of damage when they charge, but in practice, if you whiff your hit rolls, they don't do very much. So maybe I should just take more Knights of the Realm or something, or maybe even more characters. My MVPs were definitely the Knight of the Realm unit with the 4 characters, or with the 2 paladins and the Lord. Man, they just won so many combats just on their own. I love that unit. They're awesome. They are rock solid. 2 guys with rollable armor saves, and then 1 guy with heroic killing blow. It's hard to get through that. So anyway, thanks for watching all these videos. Again, for my first tournament, super fun, super great. Next month, they're having a 3,000 point tournament. I don't think I'm going to go to that, because that's a lot of points. It's going to take forever, and that means there's more guys I have to paint, so, I'm probably not going to do that. But thanks for watching, and yeah, leave your feedback, see if, let me know what your thoughts were. Thanks.